Tompolo, the CEO of Tantita Security, who is saddled with the responsibility of securing and safeguarding our oil pipeline in the Niger Delta area, has not been taking it easy with the Nigerian military. He has on several occasions indicted and directly accused the Nigerian military of being responsible in the stealing thefts of crude oil in the Niger Delta region. It now seems that the Nigerian military is now beginning to see it as a threat coming from Tompolo. They has, however, come out to issued a warning to Tompolo to stop blackmailing the Nigerian military over oil theft in the Niger Delta region.
Some few days back, people intercepted a vessel in Port Harcourt where Nigerian Navy was shooting at Tantita security people with DSS and the civil defense. So we want to employ and beg that you have a duty to play in this present condition now. Because once we do reasonable arrests, what I want to appeal is that you need to help us. If somebody is coming to load a vessel of 5,000 metric tons, you will see this community here now. Nobody will have vessel. The vessel will come from other Lagos or maybe our other neighboring countries or Abuja. But the man here will now do a water boy or a canoe boy. At the end, that is the one that they will arrest or prosecute.
Now, all the recovered items, arrested persons, and rescued hostages have been handed over to relevant authorities for further action, which includes prosecution. In summary, and based on the events of the week, it is clear that our focus is on fighting terrorists across the country. We have indeed been striking terrorist enclaves from our air attacks. We have also exerted significant military power on areas in which these terrorists are hibernating. There is no gainsaying that. We are at war against a cruel and vicious enemy. It is therefore imperative that we degrade their military capability and degrade their effectiveness. Overall, troops are mission-focused, troops are prepared, and troops are motivated to winning the war against terrorism. We recognize that it is a difficult task. We also recognize that there will be casualties. Accordingly, we are doing our possible best to minimize casualties while we inflict maximum casualties on the terrorists. Overall, it is our pride of place to put ourselves in harm's way in order to protect our citizens. We do all this to provide a safer and a more secure environment for our dear citizens. This is the kind of sacrifice we make as a force for our nation. And I will say there is no better time to support the armed forces other than now. Thank you. Terrorism and our counter-insurgency operations across the country is very clear. And that aim is to find the terrorists, and destroy them wherever they may be hiding across our country. And in achieving this aim, we will bring overwhelming military force upon them in order to destroy them or cause them to surrender. Indeed, we are achieving both. We are decimating them, and several of them have begun to surrender, even as we have opened surrendering corridors for them. For the question about the Lakurawa terror group, which I mentioned earlier, I think at this time it's important to say that their history, origin, or their purpose is inconsequential. What is important is they are a threat to our national security. We recognize them as such, and we are taking them out. They have come at a time where our operations in the northwestern part of this country has been rejigged. As you all know, we now have an operational theater similar to what we have in the northeast now in the northwest, called Operation Fansan Yamma. Recently, I believe the Minister of Defense was there to operationalize the air component of that operation. And from the clips that I've shown you in today's brief, you know that there is just one thing on our mind, and one thing only: to dismantle these terrorist groups, destroy their military capabilities, as well as their fighting capabilities. We are doing just that. Now, as to the question concerning that community, I think you called it Ekeno Busy Community in the southeast. Indeed, on the 13th of November, or thereabout, our troops at a checkpoint within the vicinity of that community were attacked, and the attack was unprovoked. We recorded some casualties. Indeed, we recorded 3 casualties. Now, some members of the community say that they have abandoned the location, thinking that troops will carry out, what did you call it? They will come there and just start killing everybody. I need to remind you that we are a professional force. That is not how we operate. Even as much as there will be consequences for the terror group that escalated that situation, our targets are not innocent Nigerians. Our targets are the terrorists, and we will go after them, or are going after them. And sooner than later, I will bring you the good news that they have been taken off the battlefield. As to the question regarding the Nigerian Navy, and is it the chief executive of Tantita? You see, I'm almost laughing because it's laughable. It's laughable. But what I want to say about this sort of situations is, look, we seek cooperation, not conflict. Okay? That's what we want. That is what our people want. That is what Nigeria wants. We want to increase the crude oil production of our nation, to help our nation. That is the mainstay of our economy. We don't want all this back and forth. all this cheap fighting. That's not what we want. We are going to continue to try to work together with all partners. But all this cheap blackmail, this one is doing, come on, come on, come on. We should move past that. We should move past that in the interest of our nation, particularly at this time that we need that revenue. So that would be my response to that. We will work together with all partners, and I think that all this cheap blackmail should stop. The effort of our Navy is obvious to all. It's obvious to all.
Some few days back, people intercepted a vessel in Port Harcourt where Nigerian Navy was shooting at Tantita security people with DSS and the civil defense. So we want to employ and beg that you have a duty to play in this present condition now. Because once we do reasonable arrests, what I want to appeal is that you need to help us. If somebody is coming to load a vessel of 5,000 metric tons, you will see this community here now. Nobody will have vessel. The vessel will come from other Lagos or maybe our other neighboring countries or Abuja. But the man here will now do a water boy or a canoe boy. At the end, that is the one that they will arrest or prosecute.
Recall that Tompolo was a major actor pointed out by the federal government as being behind the theft and the vandalization of oil pipelines in the Niger Delta region. This led the government to engage him officially and saddle him with the responsibility of safeguarding the region from oil theft and vandalization. This is a case of giving banana to the monkey to hold. It now seems that to further strengthen and prove that he is working, he is going aboard to ensure that all his findings and those who are perpetrating this act to frustrate his effort in doing his job is brought to bear.